Hello, everyone, and welcome to HD Movie Talk. I am your host, Dean's Beans, and I'm joined by a very special guest today, BrettsThoughts on TikTok. Hello, Brett.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to chat to you guys.
Yeah, I'm excited too. Is there someone else here, by the way?
No, just us. Just you and I. And Harlan, of course, who I am honored to introduce in his gorgeous orange hat.
Oh, yes.
That was
gorgeous.
That felt really weird skipping over introducing Harlan that time.
I know. I was like, oh, okay.
That's a joke just for us three. No one else gets to.
Yeah, nobody else.
The best kind of jokes.
Yeah, just stuff our audience won't understand. Hey, remember the conversation we had about your lights? Okay. This is an episode of The Guest's Best where we bring on a guest who is actually Brett, not Harlan, and we talk about a movie they've chosen, which we say is their favorite movie, but a lot of the time it's probably not. It's just a movie they like. And this week we're talking about Time.
We are, which actually is in my top 2 favorite movies.
Top 2. That's interesting. Anyway, before
what's top 1?
Well, so it goes between Requiem for a Dream and About Time, but Requiem for a Dream is horribly disconcerting. I have seen it far fewer times than About Time, so I feel like I wouldn't be able to hold down a conversation about it because it's horrible, right?
You know, Dean's favorite actors in that.
I knew you were going to bring this up. I haven't seen Requiem for a Dream, but people on TikTok tell me I should watch it about daily just because of the amount of hate I throw to Jared Leto. Just in general.
It's like, don't get me wrong, it's a beautifully made movie. I mean, it's typical Aronofsky, right? It's just going to get under your skin and freak you out. And if you were ever thinking of doing heroin, it will completely put you off.
Oh, maybe I should then.
Sorry.
Joke.
But you're never in the mood to watch it because it's so horrible and hard-hitting. So that's why I've chosen About Time, because I've seen that like hundreds of times as opposed to...
Two very different movies.
Very different movies.
Yes.
I'm eclectic.
Anyway, before we get into the movie, Brett, I'm going to put you under pressure here.
Mm-hmm.
This is something you should have prepared in advance. Okay. Do you want to just tell us about your TikTok and whatever else you do on the internet for about like 30 seconds?
Yeah, of course. My TikTok is predominantly Harry Potter based, although I'm trying to diversify. So I'm talking about Marvel and anecdotes from my life and other things at the moment. But my back catalogue is predominantly Harry Potter. So if you like that sort of thing, I've been roasted by the Harry Potter cast. I do like make your own adventure Harry Potter videos and a bunch of other stuff. So it's BrettsThoughts on TikTok.
Nice. That was like a better promo for a TikTok than like I've ever done.
Thank you.
That was off the cuff.
I do that in the shower to myself. I'm trying to get my elevator pitch like nailed.
Alan, give us 30 seconds explaining your podcast. Go your TikTok. Go.
I'm sold.
Talk about movies.
Yours is like the easiest to do though, because you're like, oh, I do fun facts about.
Yeah, I talk about movies, and then sometimes I talk about actors, and then sometimes late night, and that's about it.
Nice. Anyway,
hey, Dean,
we're already getting.
Hey, Dean, can we get a 30-second introduction to your TikTok?
Yes. So my TikTok is a Jared Leto hate page, and no, that's just
at this point.
Weeks. Yeah. I've kind of fallen down the rabbit hole now. Anyway, that's besides the point.
So I know you're trying to transition away from this conversation, Dean, but while we're on your TikTok,
yes,
I just want to say there is an alarmingly tiny amount of content about beans on your TikTok for someone who's called Dean's Beans. And I love
I've done a single video about beans. I've done one.
He hasn't even like made a the closest thing to ever seeing a bean that we've ever got on his account is the hat I've sent him that says Dean's Beans.
It was actually within arm's reach. Is that impressive?
There we go.
There you go. Anyway, no. So Dean's Beans, that name came around. I don't know if I've ever actually said this story anywhere before, but I was on like this. This was years and years ago. I was on like this camp type thing, and we were lining up to get our dinner, and it was jacket potato and baked beans. So the guy put a jacket potato on my plate, and then he said, "Where should I put them?"
Potato? It's like a baked potato.
It's a baked potato. Okay. And then thanks for translating because I had no idea where to go with that. And then he was holding a ladle of beans and he said, "Where do you want them?" And I looked him dead in the eyes and just went, "Beans." Because I thought he said, "What do you want?" And this like tiny anecdote has just become such a joke with my friends that we had a running joke about me starting a YouTube channel where I review different beans.
I would subscribe to that tomorrow. I
You-
love
I-
beans.
I would subscribe to it right now. I'd one up him. I'd do it the day before.
You win.
Yes.
Anyway, I was about to say, unless you've got any more questions about beans, I have
Not at all.
No. Harlan's never
What?
had a baked bean, have you?
What?
Shut up.
I've had baked beans.
Oh, okay.
I'm not
But
a
is it-
psychopath.
Do you not like beans on toast, or is that someone else I've had that?
We
comment about?
never. Beans on toast is not a thing at all in America.
Okay.
It's actually really hard to get your hands on regular baked beans in the States. Like I stayed in Albuquerque for a couple of weeks, like years ago, and I was desperate to get baked beans.
Baked beans. Yeah, you were hangry.
Yeah. Well, just the person I was staying with, I was like, we're going to have beans on toast for breakfast tomorrow. Could I get baked beans? Not a chance. Nowhere.
I wonder if what I consider to be baked beans, the same thing you guys do. But
Yeah.
I wouldn't.
Really philosophical here.
Yes.
One way to
What
find
are
out.
beans?
Anyway,
Okay. Should we get- I think that's like the best time to have dead air is after the question is asked, what are beans?
what are beans? Moving on. So for the last few times we've done this, we've liked to open this up. I actually haven't warned Brett about this, but that's fine. With a little quiz about the movie we're going to talk about. And it is always Harlan versus a guest, and it's Are You Smarter Than a Fluffy Duffy is the name that we call this thing. Okay. So I think I've got 4 questions. Let's say I've got 4 questions. Brett gets to try and answer them first, and if he gets it wrong, Harlan gets a go. And I
Oh my
think
God.
I've made this quiz a bit too hard this week, so we'll see how it goes.
Oh boy.
I've just said I've watched this hundreds of times in the intro as well. Like, watch me get 0.
Yeah, see, if I get it wrong, people expect that from me. But if you get it wrong,
Harlan has prolifically been terrible at these quizzes, so no pressure.
That makes me feel a little bit better.
yeah, you got the upper hand, trust
Yeah,
me.
okay. Well, question number 1 is definitely in Brett's wheelhouse. Okay, here we go. How many actors that appear in this movie have appeared in the Harry Potter franchise?
Ooh.
You don't need to name them. You can just give me a number.
I'm going to go 2.
2. I'm afraid you're incorrect.
Oh,
Chucking it back to Harlan.
because I sort of just have.
Is bollocks a swear?
No?
Like, is
I mean, I
bollocks
wouldn't
not
say it in front
acceptable
of
to say?
children.
Yeah. It's fine. Anyway, Harlan.
I'm learning.
Yeah, you're learning. What's your guess?
3.
No.
Who was closer?
Well, I'm
Or
going to
it's you,
chuck it
'cause
back to
there's
Brett. I'm
definitely-
just going to keep going until you get it exact.
There's definitely at least 2. And if it's not 3, surely it has to be 4.
You go with 4?
Let me guess I'm wrong.
Yeah, yeah, it's 4. See,
Oh,
I
thank
kind of
God.
because Harlan's been doing so badly, I kind of wrote that question hoping Harlan would get it right because I thought you'd go for 3 and then Harlan would go for 4, but you actually went.
So,
one
like,
lower than
the
me.
obvious ones were Domhnall Gleeson as Bill Weasley and Bill Nighy as Rufus Scrimgeour, right? Well, who
Yeah,
are the
you
other two?
missed.
Obviously.
Oh, you missed a very brief one. Richard Griffiths.
Oh yeah.
Uncle Vernon
Okay,
is
Yep.
the guy who he goes to teach the lines to,
he is.
and this is his last ever movie. I found out. Wow.
Is it really?
Oh wow.
Last ever movie.
That's
But the
kinda
other one, this is the one. There's a guy in this movie who is practically an extra called Lee Asquith Coe.
Right.
He has an uncredited role as Officer 247 in Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them.
Wow.
Okay. So question number 2 is more Harlan's wheelhouse. So we'll see how you do in this, Brett.
Okay.
How many actors that appear in this movie have appeared in the Marvel Cinematic Universe?
Oh my word. What?
I'll give you a clue. Lee Asquith Coe hasn't been in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Thank you for the hint. I'm gonna go 0.
Oh, you're wrong, I'm afraid.
Oh, I thought you would go for a trick question.
Okay,
No.
well, I know there's at least one.
But is there more than one?
Oh my god, there's such an obvious one. Why did I say 0? Stupid.
Wait, is Is the main actor from Marvel at all?
Why?
I
I'm not going
literally
to
don't
tell
know.
you. Just give me a number.
2.
Is correct.
Wow.
Oh, Rachel McAdams and who else?
Richard E. Grant is the guy who actually forgets his lines, and he's classic Loki in Loki.
Yes.
Ah.
Wow.
That's a sneak
Good
one.
question.
Yeah.
Really
Okay.
good question.
This one might be wrong. Okay, for this one, you can both give me an answer, and whoever is closer will get the point because I'm not going to expect you to guess this exactly.
Mhm.
How many times does Tim time travel backwards during the movie?
Ooh.
Right, do you want to give me your number first? Or actually,
Yeah, I'm going to go 17.
17.
13.
13? I don't know. I said that in an American accent. Brett gets
I
the
said it
point
in
because he is closer.
Yes.
What was it?
It was 22 by my counting.
Dang
Ooh.
it.
I very nearly went for 21 because they find out they can time travel when they're 21. But then I thought that feels like a lot. So I backtracked it.
Yeah. Well, you got to think there's a lot of times where he does it multiple times in
Yeah,
one
that's
scene.
true.
Anyway, next question is currently I've what's the score?
2-1.
I'm winning. Well, does the first question count as my point because it bounced back to me?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that counts.
Okay, cool.
So obviously, this movie is set in England, but
What?
out of the 3 main love interests, Domhnall Gleeson, Margot Robbie, and Rachel McAdams, none of them are English. Where are each of these 3 actors from?
Okay.
2.
So Domhnall Gleeson is Irish. Margot Robbie is Australian. And Rachel McAdams, I feel like I'm going to say American and she's Canadian. I'm going to go American though.
You got one of them wrong, and that is Rachel
Fuck's
McAdams.
sake.
She's Canadian.
Harlan is right, and he gets.
You're joking.
Okay.
Thank you, Brett.
I have a really badly written tiebreaker.
Ooh.
I'm
I
actually
love
really
those.
excited. Can this be the whole podcast? How on the fly can you come up with other questions?
This is not a good question. Okay.
I'm ready to make fun of you.
It's a bad question. This is why I said I had 4 questions, because I looked at these questions and I thought, that's not a good question. I'm not going to ask that. But now I need a tiebreaker. I'm going to ask that question. Which Asian country was this movie a surprise hit in?
Ooh.
I'm going to go Taiwan.
It's such a dumb question. Sorry. Okay. Have you got any guesses, Harlan?
China.
You're both wrong. I don't know if I should like narrow it down at all or just
Let's just keep bouncing
Yeah,
it
let's just
back
keep
until we
going.
okay,
get
just
it.
keep naming.
Vietnam,
No. I'll just
Japan.
say yes when you get it.
Cambodia,
Japan.
No. Have you already run out of Asian countries? Typical American.
Is Taiwan an Asian country?
That was the first one Brett guessed.
Dang it. I'm like, wow, that's really fresh in my head. There.
I'm trying to think. Is there
The Philippines? Is that?
Yeah, that is, but
Yes.
not the Philippines.
Thailand.
No. This is a clue that is not going to help either of you. This movie appeared in Avengers: Age of Ultron. Don't know why that was the first thought that came into my head.
What the correct country appeared in Age of
The
Ultron.
correct country appeared in Age of Ultron. The flag is white with red, blue, and black on it.
That is like literally
South Korea.
Yes, Brett.
Let's go.
Dang it.
I don't actually think it was my turn to guess, but I'm going to take the point.
I know that flag too. I don't know why I said. I know South Korea. Why did I say the Philippines before South Korea?
I think that when you guys were going through.
I mean, Taiwan was my first guess.
Yeah,
so-
Taiwan was such a weird one, but it was a bad question. And Harlan was so close to victory for the first time, and
I could taste it.
he missed out. Anyway, Harlan,
Thank God.
you want to tell us about the plot of this movie as your punishment? Just explain that to us.
Sure. So the plot of this movie follows this redhead guy as he is told that he can time travel, but only in the past. And then he does that, and then he finds love of his life, and then there's some, what do you want to call it? Hijinks that goes on with finding her. And then he learns that once you have a child, you can't travel past the birth of your child. And then love ensues. Was that good
Oh,
enough?
that was lovely. Yeah, I liked it. I'd watch it off the back of that.
Yeah, it's. So, had you ever heard of this movie before, Harlan?
No, I have never heard it. Never.
So when I messaged Harlan, I think you just said something like "huh," and I said you're getting introduced to the genre of cute British movies, which I think this. You're watching this, I'm like, this is so Brit. Just the narration of Donald Gleeson being like, and then well, the thing about travel is, well, really, and I was like, this is so. Just, I don't know what the word I'm looking for. It's so quaint.
It is quaint.
That's a good one.
I feel like it embodies Richard Curtis, right? Like if you watch Love Actually, or what's the other one, The Boat That Rocked? It just feels exactly like every other movie he's directed.
Yeah. Have you seen Love Actually, Harlan? Have you seen Notting Hill? He wrote that. I was getting major Hugh Grant vibes off Donald Gleeson.
Mm-hmm.
I love. Well, here's the thing: why I'm not a big fan of rom-coms, and why I was particularly initially not. I love this movie, but why I initially was not looking forward to it that much was because the thing I just dislike about rom-coms, I love like the first and second act, but the third act, like the beginning of the third act, always has like conflict between the two love interests, and then like they're like, I hate you, I'm sorry, and at the end it's a big like hurrah moment of like, oh, they're back together, but you always know that's going to happen. And I was really dreading that when I was watching this movie, and I literally, when I thought it was about to happen, I literally texted Dean, I hate rom-coms. I texted him that because I was so attached to these characters, and he was about to mess it all up, and I'm like, I swear to God. But then he didn't. And then the movie changed, and I was so happy.
I think that's why I love this movie so much, because of the two genres that it fits in, right, of science fiction and like romantic comedy. It's like it totally like poo-poos the genres like stereotypes, and I think that's why I love it.
100%, because it does that. It does the same thing with like the sci-fi, where he goes, well, what about like the butterfly effect and things? He's just like, I don't know, it just doesn't happen.
I really love Bill Nighy's approach to. Oh yeah, I never said Bill Nighy's I never finished the list. He's the fourth guy in Harry Potter and this movie. I didn't say
Bill
that.
Nighy?
Yeah, he was Rufus Scrimgeour. We covered. I'm pretty sure we covered that already.
Did I say that?
Bill Nye the science guy?
No, Bill.
Bill Nighy, the dad.
It's the most American thing I've ever heard in my life. Anyway, no, because his approach to like explaining is like, oh yeah, whatever, just go bloody do what you want. I'm gonna go read a book. I'm like, yeah, I like this approach to just. I like in movies like this where there's just an inexplicable sci-fi thing like that, and they never like bother to explain it. Like, yeah, here you go. It's just here. Do what you want with it.
100%, because that's the thing with time travel movies. I tend to hate time travel movies, right? Because it's like, how can we take this to the extreme and make it like, let's save the world or destroy the world or kill Hitler or whatever? And this is just so like, how can we make this about the beauty in the everyday, right? How can we just make it like quaint and understated? And like, for me, realism in movies, just, I'm gonna go down a fucking hole here. When people say movies are like grounded in realism, it ends up always going to like dark and gritty, right? But for me, realism is like everyday. You can imagine inserting yourself into it, and that's like, this checks that box for me, and that's what makes it so beautiful.
Yeah,
that was very well said. But I still can't get over the fact that the dad's name is Bill Nye.
It's Bill Nighy.
Yeah, but Bill Nye is like the science guy.
You know that actor though, don't you? The guy who plays the dad.
No.
Rufus Scrimgeour from Harry Potter.
You've never seen Detective Pikachu, where he plays the villain.
Does he actually?
He's in Pirates of the Caribbean as well, right? He's the bad guy.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
And funny enough, Tom Hollander, who's in this movie, is also Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah, well, he's in like a lot of, well, Pirates of the Caribbean. It's been a while since I've seen any of those movies.
Mm-hmm. I love Bill Nye. I wish he'd done more, actually.
Yeah.
Like, I would love to just binge his films.
Yeah, I think that would be a fun podcast of I don't know what you'd call it. You can't do a podcast about
So
an
much
actor
fun.
unless you have a good pun for the name. That's a rule.
Do you have one
Literal?
for this episode?
It's about time.
Ah, I like it.
Anyway, guys, it's about time to talk about your experience with this movie. So Brett, do you want to tell us about like the first time you watched this movie? If you remember, did you immediately love it? Did you watch it when it first came out?
No, I didn't watch it when it first came out. I was hungover, and a girl that I liked said she liked it. So we were texting, and I was like, while I was watching it. And although the girl and I did not work out,
That was my next question.
yeah, no, it did not work out. I have seen this movie over and over because I just absolutely fell in love with it. I actually liked it more than I liked her. It turns out. And now I want to watch it all the time. It has become my comfort movie. Like it's this and Marley and Me. If I'm like in any sort of a bad mood or want to pick me up or it's late, like I'll just throw this on and I adore it. Like I will watch it time and time again.
How often do you reckon you watch it then? Like just ballpark figure.
It's like every day.
Okay, so the amount of times that I watch it are dwarfed compared to the amount of times I ask my girlfriend if we can watch it. Because every time we sit down for a movie night, I'm like, about time. Because I like there's never a time when I'm not in the mood for it, which pulls back to what I was saying before about Requiem for a Dream, right? Where there is really never a time I'm in the mood for that movie, as great as it is. Whereas this, like anytime I'm in front of the couch, I'm like, I want some snacks or takeout, or I just want like a couple hours before I have another like errand to run or whatever. It's always about time. So I reckon I probably watch it maybe 3 or 4 times a year. I probably ask to watch it 3 or 4 times a week.
Okay,
Right on.
that's interesting. It's about time to ask Harlan his thoughts on how many times can I do this joke. Harlan, so you said you like this movie.
I did like this movie.
Is this okay? This is a difficult question for you to answer, I think. But have you got much like experience in the quaint British cinema?
I have no experience. In fact, I wrote down a couple things that I was confused about British culture from this movie, and I want to check in with you guys.
Go on.
I'm very excited for this.
For starters, do British lawyers actually wear wigs?
Yes.
Yeah.
That is so funny, and I did not know that.
Not all lawyers, right? It's barristers.
Hashtag
is
not
it?
all lawyers. Yeah, it's barristers.
So what's the difference between barristers and lawyers?
I think it's what court you're in, because like there's different, like it's the same, like, there's different levels of courts.
That's very interesting.
Like I'm sure there is in America because you have the Supreme Court, which is the one at the top, and then
Right, but even they don't wear wigs.
they should.
No, okay, whatever. Next
Maybe
one.
just different colored wigs.
When he was getting like water bottles or whatever, the cashier said, "Taking in or take away."
Yeah.
What does that mean?
What, are you joking?
We never say that. We never ever say taking in or take away.
This guy works in a coffee shop, so he would know.
I feel like so. I feel like either you
go?
misheard or your notes are wrong because it's not take in; it would be eat in or take away. So it's like, do you want to have it in the restaurant, or are you having this to go?
So,
and maybe they do. They say something like that. They say, I think they do say, eat in or take out. Maybe I think you're right.
They say no. They say take away for sure.
Yeah, a takeaway. Do you not have a takeaway?
We never say that. Takeaway is not a thing we ever say here. At least not in the Midwest.
Takeaway is something I say.
It's always take out or to go.
No, it's a takeaway. If you get, I want an Indian takeaway.
Never say that.
That's interesting. How did I not know this about you?
And also, is it common for, well, you guys call it bins, but is it common for like public bins to have the word litter on it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really pay enough attention to the bins.
I feel like in America, we only use the word litter ironically.
So it's different now from when this
wait.
movie was made.
Yeah.
Like bins now will be labeled because they'll come in threes now, usually.
Right.
And it'll be like recycling, general litter, or plastics, I think. General recycling, general litter, and plastics. But usually the litter bin, if it's by itself, is also a dog poo bin.
Are they labeled that?
Yeah. So it'll have like dog waste or litter.
Yeah.
At least in my city. I don't know where you're from, Dean, but I don't know if it's the same for you.
See, in America, unless it's like those three, it's just like there's no labels. It's just like a trash bin. And you just kind of assume that just anything goes in there.
I love that this is something you picked up in the movie, and you're like, I need to make a note of this. When does this bin appear in the movie?
Towards the end, when Henry throws a water bottle behind him and it lands in.
And then you were like, pause.
Literally. I was like, wait a second.
What's that?
I'm actually surprised this wasn't one of your questions at the start, Dean. What's on the bin? That would be surprising.
I didn't want to give Harlan such an advantage there because I knew. No, to be fair, you'd have the advantage because I'm going, what's a bin?
I tried translating instead of saying trash, like, what are we? Trash cans? Yeah, we call them trash cans.
You forgot yourself then.
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to translate.
Okay, do you have any other questions about English culture?
No, that was it. Everything else I was able to put together.
You were able to, there's
There is a big culture shock between the two places, so congratulations.
Oh,
yeah. Rain, that's one thing I saw in this movie, and I thought, yes, Cornwall. That's a joke that Harlan will not appreciate, so there you go.
I didn't appreciate it.
My family are actually from Cornwall. Essentially, Harlan, there is a bit of snobbery around mainland Britain, where the Cornish are said to be into bread, have webbed feet, and sort of the dregs of society. And in response, the Cornish want independence and have their own language.
Full what's the word? Full just honesty here. I make those jokes about the Welsh, not about the Cornish.
I feel like depending where you are in the country, people make those jokes about whoever it is that's nearest to them that they've decided not to like.
I don't have any problem with the Cornish.
You better not.
There, lovely place. The Welsh.
I have a lot to learn.
I was in Wales last week. There's 3 times more sheep there than there are people.
Are there a lot of sheep there?
There are more than 3 times more sheep in Wales than there are people, and that is a fact.
Are sheep like an issue in Britain? Like, is that just like a thing people have to deal with?
They're an issue. They're not an issue. It's just
definitely not in Wales. They're not an issue. They really like it.
Yeah, there's 9 million sheep in Wales and only 3 million people.
Are there wild sheep just like around?
No, they're just all in fields.
Oh, okay.
But
do you ever see like wild sheep like where you live, Dean?
There used to be at the bottom of my road, but they build houses there, so not anymore.
Is that a thing? Is wild sheep a thing? I thought they were all pretty much belonged to farms.
Wild sheep.
Oh, okay. They're all like.
They're all in farms. I've never seen a wild sheep.
Because that has to be a thing, right?
Maybe not.
There's wild cows somewhere.
I don't think there's any wild cows anywhere near me either. Why? What are we being going on?
I'm glad we've deep dived this movie, folks.
Yeah, this is going to be a 10-hour long podcast. We've talked about the bins. We've talked. Okay. Big question, which I was thinking about doing this. What would you do if you had this time travel thing? Like, what would your approach be?
Ooh. Well, how about question. Can I twist this question a little bit? What would be the first thing you would do?
Well, the first thing I'd do, I would test it out. See if it was real.
Okay, the second thing.
I would double check it works.
What would I feel like I'd use it like, so first of all, I wouldn't go to university. The biggest thing that I've done that I wish I hadn't done is go to university. So I'd like go back to when I was that age and just not apply. But the other thing, I think, like, I'd want to be a professional footballer, and every bad decision I make in a football match, I just go back in time to the beginning of the match and change change my decision making.
I had an American moment.
Yeah, Harlan was like, oh, football, oh, you don't
Soccer.
know."
Thank you. Soccer. I know what I would do. One time, so my mom and my sister or my sibling was under like a bridge.
You understand what a sister is, Harlan? You don't have to clarify sibling.
Well, no. They most recently changed their pronouns, so that's me being a
Oh, okay, well
needing
done.
to adjust. Anyways, my sibling and my mother were under like a bridge with an abandoned like train track type thing. So then under the train tracks are like this big metal, I don't know, just like a lot of metal under it. And I had a rock, and I was like, oh, I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna throw this rock and bounce it off the metal. So I chucked it as hard as I could. It missed the metal and was like 3 inches from hitting my mom in the head. And I have been like literally every night I stay up thinking, terrified of that. So if I could travel back in time, I would stop myself from doing that.
For a second, I thought that story was going in the direction of, and I missed, so I have to travel back in time. Because it's not like you even hit her with this.
No, yeah, I travel back in time and do it again just to try to just go a little bit higher.
It's funny to me that just that's your go-to embarrassing story. Because my answer was going to be, it's just every time I would do something mildly embarrassing, I'd just be like, bye.
I guess that's the beauty of it, though. Like, it's not just go back and change things. It future-proofs everything. Anytime you make any decision you don't like moving forward, it's like, oh, I can just Control-Z it. Like, it's perfect.
Yeah. I'm surprised nowhere, because I was really expect like 100%. When the movie started, like when we really knew what the plot was going to be about when we heard about time travel, what I 100% expected. I saw this in my head. The dad says, "Oh, I never told your mom," and then he tells Rachel McAdams' character, and then they had like a big fight over it, and like she's like, "So what things have you gone back and changed about us?" Blah 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 blah. And I was like really dreading that because I'm like, I don't want to go through that emotional turmoil just for it to end up good again.
Mm-hmm.
But they didn't, and I really appreciated that.
I did like the generic rom-com plot would have been his girlfriend / wife finds out about him being able to time travel, and they have a big falling out, and then he's like, oh, I need to be able to I'm a bumbling Englishman and I need to figure out how to fix this, and then he can't, but then he does.
Yeah, it's that's exactly the cliche rom. Like, it would be like, you know those movies where like guy and girl date because of a bet and then they actually fall in love, but then they find out it was a bet and they hate, like, it would be that, right? That altercation. Exactly. And then he'd be like, I vow never to time travel again, and they live happily ever after would be the the climax of it. I'm just so
he travels back in time and kills Hitler.
That common trope of rom-coms.
Yes.
Yes. Also, you just made me remember, I loved how quickly they got to the time travel in this movie. Like, there is no wasting time. The movie starts and they're like, it's about time travel. Thanks for appreciating my joke, because Harlan's just sitting there.
I liked it. It was subtle.
Oh,
it's the best kind of joke.
I got it. It took a second. I was like, what's so funny about it? He just said it's about time travel.
Oh, I did. It's just like they did not waste. I like movies when they just get to the point quickly.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, the other thing that I loved about it, that again, like, subverts expectations for the rom-com plot and for, like, I guess, time travel. Like, his first love isn't the person he tries to impress and woo with his powers. Like, it's not the person he ends up with, right? Which feels very true to life. It's never the first person that you think you're going to end up with. You meet all these other people and go through life, and other people are better for you. Like, I love that he doesn't just go after Margot Robbie the entire movie.
Yeah, right. And I think it also works because in another generic rom-com plot is that he's like really pining after the really popular, attractive girl, but there's actually been this nerdy girl next to him all along, and that's the girl he should have gone for. And it felt like this movie could have done that with both Rachel McAdams and Margot Robbie, but they're kind of like, oh, Margot Robbie, she's gone, comes back for a little bit later on, but like, it's not anything. And I'm just like, yeah, cool stuff. And there's a bit where I thought he was going to cheat on Rachel McAdams.
Yes, that's exactly when I texted you. I hate rom-coms.
Is it? Because I was like, this movie feels like it's about to take a turn, and he did the I'm so sorry, I must dash off at this instance.
I have a question about that point in the plot. I'm not going to ask about you personally, but I'm going to ask you about the majority of people in that situation. Do you think the majority of people would cheat on Rachel McAdams, but then go back in time, having experienced it, then go back in time so it never happened?
That's what I was thinking, because in my mind I was like, I understand why he's going to do this, because he can travel back in time, and I don't know.
But it's still, but for him, it's still immoral, right? He's still cheating, even if he goes back in time and it technically never happened. He's still doing it.
Exactly.
Right. And I because I was thinking with the two, I'm like, oh, he'll just go back in time. But I think that scene really just shows to show how much he is in love with this girl.
Well, yeah, that's the point. I think if someone is, so let's get really deep here for a moment, fellas. I think
happy to.
If he was going to do that, then it should clearly shows that he doesn't care that much about Rachel McAdams.
Mm-hmm.
So I think if we said if people would do that, then these people are like, oh yeah, I'll do that. But that's not, it's not the principle. It's not the reason people don't cheat is because they shouldn't cheat. It's because they actually care about the person they're with.
Right.
And it's going, but if you knew 100% you could get away with it, why wouldn't you do it?
You wouldn't want to, right? That's the point of being in love.
Yeah.
I absolutely agree. You wouldn't buy into their relationship for the rest of the movie if you did that, would you?
Yeah. And that's the movie that's the moment you buy into their relationship, I think, at least for me, where he's standing there and you're like, and then he's like, oh, I'm sorry, I must dash off.
What was he like?
Bloody hell, look at the time. I've got a thing I must go and do.
Latest gators.
That's him every time he makes a mistake. He's like, oh no, I must go stand in a cupboard. I'll be right back. Jolly good.
Harlan, was that a Moon Knight reference?
Yes. Do people actually say latest gators? Is that a thing people say?
I feel like
see you later, alligator, in a while, crocodile.
Right.
If someone said laters gators to me, I wouldn't be like, what on earth are you talking about?
I will next time I talk to you, Dean, I will make sure to end with that.
That's how you need to end this podcast.
Is that the outro?
Yeah. Let's
I remember. Okay, this is off topic. Were you did you pick up at the moment in Moon Knight where he shouted Wagwan? And have you ever heard that before?
Who you asking, me or Brett?
You.
Me? No.
Yeah.
I thought he was just making syllables.
No. Wagwan! I love that. I don't even know how to explain to you what Wagwan means. Do you have any translations, Brett?
Yeah, Wagwan is what's going on.
Okay, thanks.
Oh, wow.
It's if you shorten it, what's going on to what go on to Wagwan, you can sort of see the jump. But it's very roadman.
Yeah, he doesn't know what roadman
Dean
is.
and I could not get away with saying it.
I could not get away with saying Wagwan. I've been telling Harlan quite a bit recently that I say yo too much, but that's very different.
Is yo a British?
No. I just feel like
I say yo. We just say whoa too much in general.
Yeah.
I feel like in the UK, yo is slightly more colloquial than it is in the States.
That's a big word. Dean doesn't know what that means. Explain it to him.
Colloquial, slang, not proper English, if you'll allow me to do the air quotes.
Did you get that?
Yes.
Okay.
I know what colloquial means.
Now you do.
I do. Do you know what no, you don't know what a roadman is, do you, Harlan?
I'm going to guess a guy often found on the road.
Sure.
I mean, not inherently false, but
Chav is.
What?
A chav.
No.
No. They're very similar things.
Do you know what a townie is?
Now I feel like that's very that's not even all of the UK says cool townie.
No, I feel like it's maybe something that the US might say. That's why I asked, not because it was a more universal
somebody
term.
who you find more in an urban-esque area.
Yeah, sort of.
Okay.
Honestly, I want to do a whole. I don't know what I'm going to do, but one day I'm going to do a whole video of just giving you like the name of a British place and getting you to say it. I feel like that'd be a lot of fun.
I do feel like this podcast has turned into how much can we quiz Harlan on British terms, which I am here
how
for.
this podcast started.
But to
really.
be fair, I like that. That is all on me, because the first thing I said about this movie was, here's a list of British slang I don't understand. Or
when
culture.
when this podcast started, the first 10 episodes was about exclusively us going, oh, you say soccer and I say football, and that was like the first 10 episodes.
Brett,
away from that.
Have you ever had cinnamon toast crunch?
I have had cinnamon toast crunch. Yeah, we have Curiously Cinnamon here, which is fairly similar.
Curiously Cinnamon's the similar one, which I've never had.
How is it similar? Like the exact same thing, just different titles?
Yeah, I don't know if it's exactly the same, but it's like the square cereal that tastes like cinnamon.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
Fruity Pebbles was we talked about cereal a lot when we first began as well.
I am a cereal connoisseur. I would live off cereal if it wasn't dreadful for you.
What's your go-to cereal choice?
Cocoa Shreddies.
Oh,
vegan as well, which I didn't realize for the longest time. So I went without, because I gave up dairy in October last year, and I went like 5 months without my favorite cereal.
What's your favorite type of substitution milk?
Oat milk, but barista blend, so it's a bit smoother. Although very low in protein. So if I'm having like a smoothie or something, I'll throw in like soy milk just for a bit of a protein bump.
If you had given me 10,000 guesses for questions that Harlan was going to ask during the course of this podcast, what's your favorite milk substitute? Maybe it would be like number 9,000.
What's your favorite milk substitute?
I don't know. I don't.
I go for oat too, but it has like a pretty high like fat content. So whenever I'm feeling like, oh, I need to be healthy, I'll go for almond milk.
Yeah, that's fair. Sweetened or unsweetened?
Let me know.
Usually the one I go for around is unsweetened, so that's usually. But I think I do prefer unsweetened, because usually I have it in my coffee and I can find another way to sweeten it.
Yeah, I really like almond milk in coffee, like that, like a little nutty taste. Like add something.
Where'd Dean go?
Sorry,
where'd Dean go?
I think he's gone to just drink a gallon of dairy milk just because he's like fuming at our.
It's like, oh, I like my dairy milk and my steak. I'm a proper British lad. No. I think it's about time we get back on topic. This happens every time.
I'm happy with it.
No,
I love the vibe.
One thing I need to say, like, I think is important to mention, is
this about milk or is this about the movie?
Supporting cast in this movie is like, everybody has like their own personalities, and you can't help but love them, even though they're like ridiculous.
I feel like that's just, maybe Brett will disagree, but I feel like that's such a just weird, quirky characters is such a thing in like British movies and TV, just in this kind of way. I don't know how to word it, but the way these characters are quirky, I'm like, yeah, I've seen this a lot.
Yeah,
I don't mind.
I agree. I feel like this kind of movie where it's quite a small cast, a small budget, but it's the supporting cast that makes it feel like there's this world beyond that's carrying on and existing, and like makes it feel like a moment in time rather than like a deliberate movie narrative. Do you know what I mean? It sells the immersion.
Right, exactly.
And actually, I know you've said it's a very British thing, but there is a film where the supporting cast feels like it has a similar role and it is put together in a similar way. And it's I Love You Man with Paul Rudd.
Oh, I know about. I haven't seen it, but I know that movie.
Oh, it's phenomenal. If you like just Hollywood like comedy movies, like again, subvert some expectations. Like it feels like it should be a Will Ferrell movie with some like slapstick and toilet humor, but it's a gorgeous film, very, very funny, really well done. Oh my god, it's like top 3 comedies for me. You guys have to watch it. Please watch it, and can we do another episode on it?
What is it?
I Love You Man with Paul Rudd.
Sure.
Okay, I guess I got to.
Fuck yes, I love that movie.
I'm gonna text Dean it. And that's
okay.
I love you, man. See, now when I look back through my conversations, it's just gonna be looking like I'm texting.
That thing was. Sorry, guys, to be unprofessional. I just need to reply to this text I just got. I was trying to say, it says "I love you, man." I'm just gonna screenshot this.
Oh, that's really sweet.
Don't send it to Will.
Anyway,
Will is
about
Will is Dean's best friend and my boyfriend.
Will is someone that I live with, and Harlan is like, no, you have talked to him now, but Harlan
We've talked.
Harlan just once found out about him existing, and now I just get asked about him a lot.
What's his favorite film?
Hop.
Up.
Hop. Not Up. He hates Up. But Hop,
Oh.
the Easter movie.
I'm just making this up.
Hop? Are you saying hop like when you jump on one leg?
Yeah, the Easter movie with James Marsden.
Do you not know the movie Hop?
I've never seen it, no.
I've seen it.
You are not missing out.
And yeah, it's Will's favorite.
Yeah.
He's got on Letterboxd, his top 4 is Terminator 2, Knives Out, Catch Me If You Can, and Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Wow.
Okay.
Basic. He forgot to put Hop. That's so embarrassing.
Did you like how I did the, Catch Me If You Can? Nice pause there. Anyway,
I love that movie as well, actually.
Speaking of movies, I think it's about time.
Never gets old.
It will. It
has. It has.
Which of the two of you edits these podcasts?
I do.
It's going to get old for you very quickly, I feel like.
The first time I'm like, shut up, Dean. I get so annoyed with myself when I listen to myself. I'm just like, Dean, I'm like, let Harlan speak. Just shut up.
Can you bleep it after the first time you've said it? Can you bleep it the rest of the way through so the listeners don't understand until they get to this part of the podcast?
Oh, that's
so
meta.
It's almost like time travel, but in a podcast.
Yo, have you guys ever seen Unfriended?
No.
Oh, well, it's basically like this Skype horror movie. You know how they do like, just like one of those like movies that are done like on a screen type of a thing. Like
a Skype,
like a single camera thing. I like the camera's here. The single camera thing. Hello.
Sorry, Harlan. Are you saying like horror movie?
Horror.
Oh, excuse me. I'm so sorry. I misheard that as horror, and I was like, "You're saying this with such a straight face 3 times," and I am not. Either you're talking about a porn movie, like just really blasé.
No, I'm just nonchalant.
You've never seen
about,
Harlan's
my
second
favorite
account.
porn
It's
movies.
called Fluffy Duffy After Dark. Here are some fun facts.
Come on, Brett. Get your head out of the gutter, man.
I'm so sorry, mate. I didn't have you down.
No, that's your accent. Anyway. I think that is your accent because you say horror.
Well, should I say like horror? Is that how you say horror? Instead? Horror.
No, I get what you mean. I understand the confusion there, Brett. It's still funny.
Thank you, Dean. You've won me back.
Yes. Okay, I've forgotten everything I had to say about
not
this
the way it was supposed to go.
I just love Domhnall Gleeson, and when I saw, I was like, yes, more Domhnall Gleeson. I don't know, he's the good part in the Peter Rabbit movies. Have you ever seen the Peter Rabbit movies, Brett?
I have not. No,
I know.
Wait,
I
Domhnall Gleeson. Is that the main guy?
Yeah. The main. Yeah.
Isn't he like the guy that like screams a lot in the new Star Wars movies?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I like him in Star Wars as well, despite him being like a bad character in the last one. I like him.
I feel like they sort of wasted his potential as a character. He could have just not been in it, frankly, and I don't think it would have changed very much.
No, the bit everyone gets annoyed about is when in the last one when he goes, "I'm the spy."
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, at least he's the only character that was misused and misrepresented in that movie.
Yeah.
Wait. I forget.
Everybody else. Oops.
I feel like Domhnall Gleeson would make a good doctor.
Yeah.
There been an I've seen 2 Doctor Who episodes.
Which ones?
The first 2.
Oh, the one with all the dummies at Christmas.
Well, it's Christopher Eccleston.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the first Christopher Eccleston episode is Rose, which is the dummies one. And then the second one is an episode I don't like, and that's The End of the World.
Oh, yeah, that's kind of a trash one.
Yeah.
Nerds.
A new Doctor Who episode came out yesterday. Didn't watch it.
I haven't seen it since I did not like Peter Capaldi's time as the Doctor, and then I stopped watching partway through, and then I gave it another go when Jodie Whittaker took over, and again didn't like the writing more than anything else. So I was just like,
I watched 3 episodes of Jodie Whittaker, and then they did the whole mini series thing like last year. I watched like half of that and then gave up. And now every time a new Doctor episode comes out, I message my friends and I'm like, should I watch it? And they're like, no. And I'm like, oh, okay.
But you watched this one?
No.
Oh.
I saw it. My dad was like, do you want to watch it? And I was like, no.
But you did watch About Time.
Yes.
That's funny because Doctor Who is also about time.
What the amount of bleeps you're gonna have to put in this, mate, is so much hard work. About Time.
Yeah. It's about time.
It's about time to what? Okay. How are we going to talk about this movie again? That was not a way to word a sentence. How are we going to? This has really gone off the rails, and I'm loving it.
How about this? Who's like your favorite side character out of like all the catalog of?
Mine has to be Tom Hollander.
Who plays?
What's his character's name? The guy he lived with, the playwright.
Henry.
Yeah, if that's what his name is.
That's his name, right? Right?
Was it Harry?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. It might be Harry or Henry.
I'm gonna check.
Oh, Rupert's pretty great. Wait, it's not Rupert. It's Rory.
It is Harry. It is Harry. Excuse me.
It's Rory. I love Rory.
Yes, Rory is
He's
great.
Awesome.
Or maybe Uncle D. I really liked.
Oh, he was so sweet.
He was.
Yeah, that was kind of heartbreaking. Like this has been a really fun and upbeat podcast. Well, I'm going to bring it down a little bit. My grandmother had dementia and Alzheimer's for the longest time before she passed, and it was such a true to life depiction of that disease, and also like the support that the people around you can give you, and like how those moments of lucidity can be so important and prominent, and like such great moments in like your experience with that person as they're going through it. Like it's one of the best on-screen adaptations of that illness in my experience of it anyway.
Yes. I watched The Father yesterday, which was amazing. And that's about that. It's the Hopkins one.
Okay, I've not seen it.
No, yeah. And it was literally it's the entire point of the movie, and it was not fun to watch.
Yeah.
But you enjoyed it.
I didn't enjoy the experience, but it's a good movie.
Well, I think if you came out of it being like, that's a good movie, you enjoyed I think like enjoying it, you can be like an emotional trauma afterwards. You can still enjoy it.
I guess.
Yeah, it's like me with Requiem for a Dream. It's horrible, but I enjoy it, sort of.
Yeah.
It's not a pleasant experience, but
I enjoyed watching this movie because it was quaint. If I had to sum it up in one word, it would be quaint.
What, father?
I like that word.
No, About Time.
Oh, excuse me. Yeah, quaint is, I think that's a good word for it.
Yeah.
Heartfelt. That's my word. Heartfelt.
I was about to say simple, but
what?
The podcast is over. That's too much for me.
I actually went back in time and made sure I said simple before you did, so we could have that bit.
No, what I'm now gonna do is I'm gonna go back in time and make sure I don't say simple, because that's what I mean by every minor inconvenience. Like if I stumble over my words, I'll be like, excuse me, I'm gonna go stand in that closet.
One thing another, because Dean said that, one bit I really liked where Donald Gleason, that's his name, right?
Domhnall, Domnhall, Domhnall.
Mr.
Gleason.
Gonna call him Gleason. Yeah,
yep.
There we go. He like that one moment where he lets their daughter into the room and messes up Rachel McAdams' manuscript. I thought was really well, because even though Rachel McAdams' character had no idea why he wanted to get out of the room and time travel to fix it, she wouldn't let him. And I thought that was a really beautiful moment of making him go through something, even though.
To be fair, I would be like, oh, I'm gonna go travel back in time and fix it for you, and she'd be like, what? And we're like, oh, let me just go do it, and then you'll see. I've now realized I would use this power for like Groundhog Day stuff. Do you know, like where he just like perfectly like rehearses everything, or he tries stuff he wouldn't usually. So he'd be like, oh, hey, do you want to try? He would like say things to people he wouldn't usually, because he knew it wouldn't matter. That's the kind of thing I think I'd use this power for. It's Groundhog Day, but with none of the downside.
Right.
Yeah, that's
I would
go on.
totally say some messed up things to some people I don't like, and then just do it over and over again.
And some messed up things to people you do like, just to see what happens, just one time.
I feel like you would, wouldn't you? You'd be like, I just tell them that I would, like in Groundhog Day, there's always the day in every Groundhog Day movie where he tells the person, he's like, hey, I'm in Groundhog Day right now. And they're like, what does that mean? He's like, oh, it's a movie that we're currently in. But like, I'd do that sort of thing. I'd be like, oh, by the way, I can time travel. And they'd be like, what? And I'd be like, woo, bye.
Here's a question. If you could time travel like he does in this movie, but your life expectancy was still the same, so every time you went back however many days or weeks, that was taken off the end of your life. It's not like you went back to that time. Do you know what I mean? It was like, would you like, how reserved would you be with it?
I would do the big things like sister's in hospital and dad's about to die, and I think that's about it. I don't think there's anything else that I'd be like.
I think I'd try to limit to like 15 times a year. You know, because
it depends.
like,
are you going back a day, or are you going, you know? Because
when going back an hour isn't a big deal if you're like, oh, I really fucked that up. Let me quickly jump back, or even 10 minutes.
Yeah.
But like, it's interesting, like how quickly would that add up? Like, let's say you traveled like a total of 15 days. Like, that's how much you like actually, like, your year was really worth like what, 380 days instead of 365 or 4 or whatever. How, like, that'd be interesting to see, like, how much would that actually take off your life?
Yeah. Well, let's do the math. So 15 days twice would be 30 days. 20 times would be 300 days.
Divided by 15, it would take 24 years to add another year onto your life.
Oh, that's not so bad at all, is it?
No. So you would probably...
So you shorten your life by maybe 3 years?
Yeah, 3 years of your life. And that's like, if you start at 21, it's probably like 2 and a bit.
Right.
Okay, bolt-on question. You find out today that something you did 5 years ago really impacted your life negatively. Like, would you go back and change? I suppose it depends how negative it is, right?
Yeah, I don't think I would, because I just don't. Because I was thinking about this when you were like, oh, I had to go back and make sure I'm not at university. But then when you come back to your current life, it would be so different, surely.
Nah, my attendance at uni was like 20% because I hated it so much. I was home all the time anyway, so I don't feel like it would change very much.
See, like the first thing I go to when I think of like something I would change is like a really, really like awkward, embarrassing moment I had where like I was invited to hang out with some friends, and then one of the friends was like, wait, why are you here? And then I left. Like, I felt like if I went back and I changed that moment, it would change the person who I am now. You know what I mean? It's like taking those little things.
We all have those things that keep us up at night when you're like, why did I say that?
Right, exactly. But those kind of things shape us in a sense. So
yeah, I guess it's like all those little moments that you don't realize chip away at things that you'd lose. It's a good point.
Right.
Wow. Okay, I have 2 final questions.
Yes.
Number 1, this one's more directed at Harlan because I have a feeling I know what Brett's going to say. Is what would you score this movie out of 10?
Interesting. Oh, I don't know. I'll probably give it an 8.5 out of 10.
I was going to say 8.5.
Sure you were.
I'll go with 9.
How is, just out of interest, compared to the rest of like your guest recommended films, how does that fare? Is that like top end, or do you get a lot of like 9s and 10s?
I reckon it's in like the top quarter.
Ooh, I'll take
Probably.
that.
I think like when I think about it, like what would make the only thing I could imagine that would make About Time better is if it had a bigger budget. Like
Yeah, it
if
was
they
like
were
10 million, right?
Yeah.
I'm not sure, but like if they like had that doubled, like I think they could have done like some really cool special effects, and maybe like I don't know, they could have done some I feel like this movie's perfect the way it is, but I think there are like little things, like little tweaks that I think could make it like, you know, one of those movies that is like ranked amongst like The Godfather. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
Okay, so this is our 14th movie we've done for one of these, and I think I would put this in maybe like 5th or 4th place. Let's
Well,
go.
Okay.
so I'm trying to think
So
other
the movies I prefer is The Truman Show, like my second favorite movie ever.
Mm,
Spotlight.
Oh, great movie,
Speaking of
Spotlight.
harrowing movies,
I think I enjoyed this more than Spotlight.
that's interesting. I definitely enjoyed it more than Spotlight. Chronicle really surprised me. I'd say that's above this. So that's what, 3. And Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
That's
Mm.
fair.
So this is 5th out of 14.
Mhm. If we so if you guys are ranking it out of 10 stars, if we can do like a pound for pound, divide the stars by the budget, I feel like I'm winning.
Yeah, you're really getting your money worth.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's a good point. Good point.
Dean, what about you? Where do you? Oh, you said 9.
Yeah, I'll go 9.
What could have made this movie a 10?
It's a good
More Bill
question.
Nye.
What don't I like Bill Nye? I'm thinking, I just think there's certain side characters which I think could have been more interesting if like they had a bigger actor attached to them. Not, but I just mean an actor who
Yeah.
like with a bit more personality, like his best friend. I think that could have been a more interesting character. But obviously, that's just a nitpick.
I wonder if, and I'm not saying you two in particular, but I wonder if like across the board, a lot of people like maybe this film can't be improved as what it is, but the kind of film it is and what it tries to do just doesn't make it the kind of film that you're going to put above the others. You know what I mean?
I guess it's not like there's not the kind of like masterpiece type thing when you're watching it where you go, well, this is really beautiful and profound and blah blah blah. In ways it is, I guess. No, I'm saying that.
No, it totally is.
For me, I don't know if I would 100% because I'm a massive rom-com fan. Like that is my guilty pleasure.
I think for me, like the big wow moment is the rom-com, like the romantic side of it. He doesn't just fall in love with Rachel McAdams, right? He falls in love with life through this journey, which sounds really like on the like it's like in your face that's a really like attempt at being profound, but it is. It's like the whole
totally
message at the end of it is like falling in love with the everyday, as opposed like you can time travel, you think it's going to be this really big thing, but actually it's like it's all the nuance of life that you fall in love with.
Yeah.
If someone went to me, do you want this power? I think I might have to go with no.
Oh, I would
Really?
take it 100%.
I'm taking it in a heartbeat.
Because I feel like it would just ruin me.
I think it would make me a better person personally.
I feel like I would just be like, oh, I've got to go stand in a closet every 5 minutes. You know, I feel like, and just the idea of having to live through the same day again, that does sound pretty boring as well.
Well, I feel like it would like fast track a lot of like my personal development of like I feel like I would learn things about myself a lot quicker if I could fix them, and not because only do I get that moment of embarrassment, but I also get like the moment of, because I remember both experiences, right? So I get that moment of redemption and able to, you know what I mean? So like that kind of a thing.
Yeah, I see what you mean, Dean. Though, like now you say it like that, like living through a whole day, like it works as a movie because you see the highlights of each day as he lives through it. But actually, like imagine having to do the same shit every day, like especially if you're struggling a little bit, you're doing the same poo every day.
Deja vu ever, and
that's why you have oat milk.
It's exactly that.
Well, anyway, I think that does bring us to the end here. Thanks for joining us, Brett.
Happy
yes,
to.
Thank you, Brett.
We're definitely going to do another. While we're on the record, by the way, we're definitely doing another episode about "I Love You, Man." Right?
I guess we have to.
I guess we have no choice, despite the fact that I really don't want to. No, I'm kidding.
Oh my god, Brett, are you okay?
Well, I mean, Dean has to talk to me for another like half an hour now on my podcast, so he's going to have to put up with me.
Cheeky plug there. I enjoyed that.
Thank you, Chatty Potter. If you like Harry Potter,
I think I'm going to be there too.
Oh, are you free?
Be there.
Yeah,
Actually, I don't know. Anyway,
heck yes.
Go over to that episode and you'll find out. Anyway, thank you.
Adios, everybody.
That's not what you're supposed to say at the end.
What am I supposed to say again?
Laters, Gators.
Laters, Gators.
We'll see you next week. Bye.